All right, guys, so of course you know I'm from California, and right now I'm in New York City, and I've spent the last few days here in the city promoting Flip or Flop, Tarek's Flip Side, and my new show Flipping 101, and it's been a really great experience, especially after everything I've dealt with the last few years. And right now I'm actually headed to do a podcast with Ryan Serhant for my new show, Life by Design, so I'm really excited about it. When it comes to success, everybody wants it fast, and that's me too. Like, I wanted it fast, and I got it pretty fast, but it took a lot of patience and a lot of persistence. So the first step is the persistence. You have to show up each and every day, do the same thing over and over and over, and build. And you have to be patient because it takes time. So while you're being persistent, you have to be patient. And if you're both persistent and patient, you will be successful. And I know this firsthand because I've done it over and over again. All right, Ryan, so I am a very long way from Southern California, so why don't we tell everybody where we're at?
Right now, we are not in California.
No.
We are in New York City. That's where we are. And worlds are colliding right now.
I know.
I watch you on HGTV. You probably don't watch Bravo.
Of course I watch Bravo. You know, that's why I'm really excited about this interview, actually, right? We're both in real estate.
Yeah. We
both survived the crash of 2008, or actually I survived the crash and you entered the crash. You're crazier than me.
Yeah, true.
And we both do reality TV.
Yeah.
So you're on what season again?
8.
I'm on season 8 too.
What's up? Season 8.
Right.
Shake hands. That's what happens.
I think we both air. What night do you air?
Thursdays at 9. We're at the same time.
We're at the exact same time.
Yeah, you beat us though.
I mean, it's not really fair. I didn't really beat you. It's just
pretty sure you beat us.
Inside the demographic, but it just depends on who's watching.
Yeah, I was like looking at ratings like the other day, and it was like, you guys are always like first. It's like huge, and then the line beneath it was like, "$1 million listing had a cool uptick, guys. Take a look."
Last second, you're like, shit, circle it. Like, no.
Yeah, no, I circled it, and I was like, "Look, guys, look, we are right up there. It's crazy."
I know, so it's wild. So we do have 2 wildly successful real estate TV shows.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, wow.
Deal. Oh.
Tone.
This is a 6 point. All right, that's a $6.3 million deal. I'm gonna put it in my pocket for 1 second.
For just 1 second.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was saying, we both have wildly successful TV shows, and I got into real estate in 2003, and you got into real estate in 2008.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Okay.
So that was like the worst time to get into real estate.
For people who were in the business, sure.
Right. Actually, for a new person, it might have been a good time because you didn't know what else to expect, and it probably taught you what hard work was. So how did you actually end up getting in real estate?
I moved to New York City after college in 2006, and I wanted to be an actor, so that's what I was doing. I was doing theater and short films and all that stuff, and then I ran out of money, and I didn't want to move home to Colorado at the time, and because that's really what you do, right? You come to New York, you try, it doesn't work, you move home. New York's just too expensive. I had a friend who I went to college with who said, listen, don't move home, don't become a waiter, don't become a bartender, and I knew a lot of like actors who were 50, 60 years old who were still waiting tables that they started doing when they were 25 just to pay rent. So I was like, I don't want to be that person.
Right.
Comfort, right? Comfort is death. So I had a friend who said, get your real estate license, right? Rent an apartment or 2 a month, pay your bills, and you have all the rest of the time of the world to do whatever you want, do your auditions and your little stuff. And so that was really the goal. I got my license and I started the day Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy on September 15th, 2008. And for everyone else, that was a really bad day if you had money or had a job or had lifestyle expenses to uphold. For me, my rent was $1,100. I was at 38 West 31st Street in Koreatown. I had to rent an apartment for $2,000 a month, and my bills were set, right? Because the commission would be $2,000, 1 month's rent. And then I would pay my rent, I'd have food money, I was good, man.
Yeah, and today I'm assuming your rent's more than $2,000 a month, right?
Yeah, no, I don't pay rent anymore.
Exactly. So there's a huge transition, and you've gone through a big journey. So you got into real estate in 2008. How long did it take before you actually started making money? Because some people it takes them 2 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years.
It took me 3 years to feel like I could possibly do this, right? So 2011, let's say, $1 Million Listing came on the air first in 2012, and then I was still super new, but I was making enough where I could afford a new apartment and still pay rent, right?
Yeah.
Where I wasn't panicking all the time. And then from there, things just started to steamroll.
And then how did you end up getting the show?
I went to an open casting call in the Hudson Hotel in Times Square with 3,000 brokers.
There was an open casting for your show.
Yeah, they had it because $1 Million Listing was a show based in LA, and they wanted to do the New York version. Yeah. I think they tried to do it a year or two before, but the market just wasn't there. So in like 2008, 2009. So in 2010, they sent out an open casting call that said, if you're a young broker and you're the best and the hungriest and the craziest, Bravo's spinning off to do a New York version. And my boss said, you should go to this, because I used to act, right? You're like, you know what to do in front of a camera, right? And I was like, I guess so. And so I went, and I just remember there being a huge line, and it took like 9 months of auditions, and they followed us around, and then they cut it down, and they followed us around, and they cut it down. And then they cast me at the end of 2010. We filmed for an entire year, and the show came out March of 2012. That was season 1.
That's wild. So it's so funny. So my show started airing season 1 in 2013, and we're both literally on season 8 right now.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So I have a question for you. So you're like going against 3,000 other brokers. I mean, how nerve-wracking was that? Yeah, like was that?
Honestly,
what's that like?
I mean, I was so used to auditions, so I didn't like really care. And I think what helped me the most is like when I was trying to act in the city, every audition I went to, I wanted, right? By this point in my life, like in 2010, I gave up acting. I didn't want to do it anymore. It was stupid. Like I really liked real estate. I liked the idea that I could go outside on the street and meet someone, and maybe they would rent an apartment. I would make money. Like I didn't want to go and do some show or plays anymore. Yeah. So I went into that audition. I just did not care. Like all the questions they asked, I didn't care. And I think in hindsight, I think they liked that. And I think they were like, oh, this guy's kind of an asshole. And so I think that was then the role that I had to play.
Perfect.
Even though that's not really like who I am. So season 1 and 2, I'm like kind of this jerk broker. And then I kind of had to like morph back into who I actually am, which is, probably the greatest guy in the world.
So just yeah, I like that. I thought, not cocky at all, by the way. Cocky's great. So here's something.
Yeah.
Because I want people to the whole idea about today is about being persistent and being patient.
Sure.
So literally 11 years ago, you got your real estate license with nothing. Today, huge hit TV show. How much dollar volume have you sold in real estate?
Oh man, I do about $1 billion a year now. So I don't know. We've done probably $5 billion since I started. But yeah, it's about $1 billion a year.
So for those of you who don't know much about real estate, $1 billion a year in real estate makes him one of the top brokers, not in the city, not in the state, not in the country, in the world. That is wildly, wildly successful.
Yeah, you have to understand too that I would not be able to do that anywhere but New York City. Like New York City is the house, right? It's like we gamble all day long. This is the casino.
Yeah.
And so I'm playing with the house as money. Like right now you are in 101 Wall Street, right? You are in a building and the sellout here was $200 million, and this is one of our final units. This is the penthouse, and I'll show you around later. It's asking $5 million. So for me, one listing agreement gets me a lot of apartments, right? We have my first project ever, $1 million listing started, was 99 John Street, which is literally right over here in the financial district, which is 442 apartments. It's a $500 million sellout from one listing agreement.
Wow.
And you just show those apartments all day long. You pick one, you pick one, you pick one. So it's a different world here compared to everywhere else.
Oh, it's definitely a different world than the world I came from, like real estate. It's funny, like we're both in real estate, but I'm like walking into like crack houses and roach-infested dumps, and like you're in these beautiful penthouses. But I'm sure you come across some really cool stuff. Have you ever flipped a house?
I have not personally, no. In New York, it's hard. It's so capital intensive, and it takes so much time. Like I bought a townhouse. I have a baby now. He's had a baby, got married. Found a cool townhouse in Brooklyn. Bought it, and that renovation really, really fast is going to take me 2 years, and the renovation, and I'm not even tearing it down, the renovation is going to cost me like $2.5 million.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to flip in New York City.
It's $2.5 million just for the inside, because
the inside.
There's no like yard and pool.
No, there is a yard there, so but the yard is like $100,000. So it's just it is expensive and it takes a lot of time. But you can do it. Like you can find estate sales. But the problem is it's New York, so like if you're selling an apartment or a home that is terrible, you know what it's worth, and so you still want to make a lot of money on it because it's still New York. So it's tricky.
So when I talk to people, I talk about defining moments in my life or events that change the trajectory of my life.
Sure.
And you're a huge success in the TV world, in the real estate world. You've made it, yet you're still going. So was there ever a time when you doubted yourself on this road to success?
Yeah, like every Monday at 8 a.m. probably.
Okay. No, I love that. I love that you say that, because a lot of people that are watching this, they need to understand that every successful person you see has failed. They've doubted themselves. They've like felt like a failure, and that's part of the process. And I always talk about winning, and the only way you win is by never quitting, right? So you can't fail if you don't quit. And that's one of the keys to success that I see, and that's obviously why you got to where you got. And then how different is reality TV, by the way, than actually acting?
I mean, totally different. Reality TV, there's a camera that follows me around for a year, and we have stories like they're going to film this building, they'll film this unit, and I'll tell them when we're going to have open houses and stuff. I'm not walking in with a script.
Yeah.
But going back to what you're talking about, like just persistence and like the work, it's true. The higher you go, the harder you fall. So now, like when I started in 2008, 2009, 2010, a broker in New York City, no money. I'm not from here.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody. I didn't go to school here. I don't have parents from here.
Yeah.
My first clients were on the street and through Craigslist. That's how I met people, and I would do rentals, right? I meet somebody, I meet 3 girls who just graduated from NYU who want a 3-bedroom apartment for $3,000 because they can each afford $1,000 a month. I'd have to deal with the parents who would guarantee the lease. I'd have to go through the lease application process, and then at the last minute, they would find something on their own and go rent it. Sorry, Ryan. And that would be like 3 days of my life. So I didn't make any money, and there's only one of me. But you just keep pushing, because what's so great about real estate is that every day is a new day to turn it all around. Like that's why I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
Like I could lose that phone call that just happened, right? That's an apartment that we're selling in Tribeca right now for $6.3 million. That could be the guy calling me to tell me he's out, could be calling me to tell me he's signed. No matter what happens, tomorrow is a brand new day where I'm going to meet somebody else to do a new deal. That person's going to get off that boat and say they want to buy this. You never know. And that's that persistence, right? That's that persistence. And also the patience to know that tomorrow's another day, next month is going to be another month. Everything will always be okay as long as you keep at the work day in, day out.
Yeah,
it's really important.
So you've built that mindset over the years, and I understand exactly what it takes, because I have that exact same feeling. But early on, when you were, you're struggling, you don't have much money, and you're banking on this $3,000 a month lease, and these people cheat on you, and they go rent a house with someone else. How did you continue going? Is it because you had no other option, or what kept you going? Because why didn't you want to quit? That's my question.
So I call that like my wall, right? Like my back was literally up against a wall. It's for me, and in hindsight, it was the best thing. At the time, it sucked, but I was out of money. Yeah. So it was either go home, and I wasn't going to be homeless. Yeah. My parents have a nice house. I can move home. But that to me was utter failure, right? I didn't want to ask for help financially, because that would then suck. And then I didn't want to be addicted to it. And I didn't want to get a survival job where I was going to be a slave to punching in and punching out somewhere. And real estate, I saw what big real estate brokers could do, how much they could make, the freedom they could have with their life, how entrepreneurial the business was without really taking a whole lot of risk other than just your time and your sanity.
Yeah.
And it was like that, I think I could do this. And with my acting background, I knew how to improvise, I knew how to talk to people, I knew how to move around, and I didn't want to be stuck at a desk. And so I pushed through every day knowing that New York is a massive city, right? 12,000 homes will sell here this year, right? There are 80,000 brokers in the city though, so the competition's really, 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 really steep. But if that guy can do it, then I could do it, and I'm just gonna wait till he goes to bed.
Yeah, and that's the mindset. In order to be successful, you have to have that mindset. If he can do it, I can do it, and I'm a huge believer in that. So now we're looking at your life, like I said earlier, hit TV shows, selling billions of dollars in real estate, yet you're still here working, shooting, you're still doing this.
Yeah.
What is your end goal? What is your target? What keeps you going today?
To be you.
No, come on.
Dude, I'm gonna be on HGTV.
No, come on, I'll go on, bro. We'll switch shows for a month.
My end, man, to do bigger and better. For me, I the success we've had is okay because it provides some safety and it allows me to open more and more doors. But I don't know every seller in this city. I don't know every buyer. Every day deals get done and they don't get done with me. And that pisses me off. Yeah. Right? And that's and it's kind of weird to talk about because then people are like, oh, that's greedy, that's stupid. You'd be happy with it. And I absolutely am. And I'm very, very grateful. But at the same time, every day deals get done and they don't get done with me, and I don't know why. And I want to make sure that they all get done with me, and until they do, then I'm not gonna stop. Otherwise, what's life for? Because eventually I'm gonna be dead and there will be no more.
Exactly.
It'll be pure blackness.
But that's the exact mindset it takes though. People don't understand. It has to become an obsession. You have to want it more than anything in the world. And you're in two different worlds. You're in the TV world and the real estate world.
Yeah.
Obviously you're killing it in the real estate world. When it comes to the TV world, are you looking to do more shows outside of $1 Million Listing? Are you looking to, what are you looking for in that world?
Well, I think you and I are kind of a lot alike. You have, you plant a lot of seeds out there and then you see what grows. And then what grows works, and then you're gonna wait for those branches, right? Keep pouring on it, figure out what works. So for me, planted a lot of seeds. I did a lot of different things. The real estate thing happened to work for some fucking reason. So, okay, did that. So from that comes $1 Million Listing New York. From that then came the spin-off show, Bravo, about my wedding. Then from that came Sell It Like Serhant. From that came the book. From that'll come book 2. From that comes the vlog and all the social stuff. From that comes my online sales course, which comes out this Thursday, so on and so forth. Building the team, selling more, going into different networks and all that. So just milking it all as much as you can because you can. Like why would I not?
It's fun, isn't it? Like honestly, it is a lot of fun. Like people don't realize. I know you're doing all these different things, and I'm in the same boat. I'm doing all these different things.
Yeah.
But as chaotic and crazy as it is, I love everything that we do, and it's actually easier now running all of this than it was at the beginning when I first started everything. All right. So earlier I was talking about how much I love New York. I love the pace. I love the traffic. I love the noise. I love the people. Like. You came here, you're not a New Yorker, so for you to land here and be thrown into this lion's den, that is wild. And New York City is one of the, if not the most competitive real estate market in the world.
Yeah.
So what was it like here?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now very much a product of my environment. You know, I remember maybe like a year after getting into real estate, going home for Thanksgiving and just talking to my parents at dinner and talking to my little brother and asking me like what my life was like talking. And I realized that they were being totally silent, staring at me. And my little brother looked back at me, and I will never forget this, and was like, dude, you're different now. He's like, why do you talk so fast now? And I didn't even realize that I was doing it, but I think in New York, there's only so much time. And I live and die by every single deal that I do. And if I waste a single minute, like I'll never get that back, right? Like it's, literally, like it was 2008 a second ago. Like I was 26 getting into this business, super excited to make 500 bucks. Yeah. Now I'm like, you know, now life is different. Season 8 of the show, doing different deals. Now I'm like, shit, I don't care about the $500 deal. I care about losing that $1 billion building. And that's important, but no one cared when I lost the $500 deal. Now if I lose that building, everyone will care, everyone will know. So it's like, you get put onto a pedestal, and then you've got to figure out how to balance on top of that pedestal in New York City on one foot while doing backflips.
And don't forget, you're doing all of this on TV, and the world is watching.
Yeah. Commenting, Twittering.
There's a lot of pressure. There really, really is, and a lot of people wonder like how you don't break, but it's all mindset.
Yeah, no, I think this season I break actually. I've seen it in the trailers and I was like, damn it, I forgot that. Yeah. In December of this past year in 2018, the stock market crashed, and this is the financial capital of the world. So a lot of our clients are tied to Wall Street, and like that day, right, Trump was doing his thing, market was tanking 500 points, 800 points, 700 points. Every deal we had on the table, everyone was backing out. Everyone was like, yep, recession's back, 10-year rule. Yeah. We found it, it's over. Every client was calling, firing everybody. It was insane. The world didn't come to an end. Everything was fine. New Yorkers are the greediest, cheapest people, like with no attention span whatsoever. So you gotta kind of deal with it. But like, I cracked a little bit at that moment. But like what we talked about at the beginning, right? Like you got to like wake up and just go and be thankful that you're in New York City, and every day I walk by someone I've never met before in my entire life. Like that's crazy. When I lived in Steamboat, right, and we'll be in Steamboat this weekend where my parents are in the house and the ranch there, like I couldn't walk down the street and not see someone I knew, right? It's like that's what life was like. In New York City, I could literally walk from here back to my office in Soho, and I will never walk by a person that I've met before. Like that's what's insane.
I love this place. You're talking about the stock market crash. Like I was on CNBC yesterday, and there was some things going on in the stock market, as you know, and they were freaking out. It was like they cut my segment in half. So right, this is like the financial capital. Like New York City is the hub. So.
And they feed off of it, though. That's the problem.
They do. And then you talk about 1,000-minute rule, right? Yeah. Tell me about that.
Yeah, for me, just like with goals, right? You're like, what are your goals? I want to sell this much, or I want to make this much. It's too big of an idea. So I always break down financial goals based on, okay, I can sell 5 apartments this month. If I do that, the average commissions will be this. So that's my goal. It's realistic. I know how to find those 5 people to do that. So for structuring your day, how do you not waste a minute? We talked about that a little bit. Like every minute I have is very, very important. So there's 24 hours, 60 minutes. That's 1,440 minutes in a day. You sleep 6 hours and you eat and stuff like that, right? You're basically left with 1,000 minutes a day to get shit done. And that 1,000 minutes is very, very, very important to me. And for me, thinking about it that way, like I've got 1,000 minutes a day and I wake up rich with time. I wake up flush. with my bank of time, and I'm the CEO, and I can do whatever I want with it. I can spend it like an idiot, or I can spend it really wisely. I can invest it, whatever I do. When I wake up, that's what I think. I got a brand new $1,000 worth of time in my pocket, and let's go spend it wisely, and let's figure out how to make the most of it and make our money time grow.
You look as time is currency. That is very, very well said. So we're about to end here, and I love that. So I'm gonna ask you one last question.
Shoot.
What is still driving you today?
Complete fear of failure.
I
don't know, being honest with you.
That's my biggest fear in life is failure.
Yeah, I think that's like, I don't want to miss a shot, right? And I don't want to take a step back ever. You know, we work so hard to move forward. Like, I don't want to take a step back. I don't want to lose ever. You know, I've come this far. Winning is just the beginning. So, I don't know. I think that's what pushes me. Sounds terrible.
That's not terrible
New
at
York
all.
is a dangerous place.
People ask me all the time, what is your biggest fear in life? And I always say my biggest fear is failure, and I do everything humanly possible not to fail.
Yeah.
So I love everything you're doing. I love the story. I love that you're doing the season 8's on the air right now. We're on the air at the same time.
Yeah, same time.
You're killing real estate.
Get 2 TVs and put them next to each other.
So guys, we're gonna say bye now. Say bye, Ryan.
See ya.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Life by Design. We had a great time here in this beautiful penthouse in New York City. Ryan, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.